Some stories can only be told when the sun is just beginning to rise and nature has not fully awakened. Welcome back to African Survival Stories, where every journey reveals a new perspective on Africa. Let us begin. The morning in the open woodland began with a distinctive sense of stillness, where even the soft rustling of a leaf could draw attention. The Hadzabe group quietly moved forward, carefully observing every sign left on the ground. Round footprints pressed clearly into the dry soil suggested that a leopard had passed through the area not long ago, an animal known for its remarkable agility and ability to move almost unnoticed. For many safari enthusiasts, moments spent following tracks like these are among the most exciting parts of the experience, because every step can lead to an entirely unexpected encounter. But the tracks were not the only thing that caught the group's attention. Across the ground were also long, winding trails leading in another direction, familiar signs of a python. Finding traces of both animals in the same area immediately made everyone more cautious. This was not an everyday situation, so every decision that followed needed to be considered carefully. They continued deeper into the woodland at a slow and steady pace, maintaining a reasonable distance and keeping noise to a minimum. This is also part of what makes the forests of Tanzania so fascinating, where nature is constantly changing and every journey brings a sense of unpredictability. On the soft ground, the leopard tracks became even clearer, suggesting that it had passed through the area only recently. At the same time, the python trails appeared more frequently, indicating that both animals had been moving through the same surroundings. No one chose to move directly ahead. Instead, the group carefully changed direction and followed the natural terrain to maintain a safe distance. Their coordination happened almost entirely in silence, guided only by brief looks and small gestures that everyone had become familiar with over the years. At that moment, the presence of both the leopard and the python made the situation considerably more complex. The priority was no longer simply following one animal, but carefully avoiding an area where unexpected risks could come from either direction. After carefully assessing the terrain, the group adjusted their formation once again. Some members widened their observation range to monitor the surrounding area, while others followed the freshest signs on the ground. Their pace remained slow and steady, avoiding sudden movements that might disturb the natural surroundings. The distance gradually became shorter with every step. The bows were slowly raised, with the arrows prepared for the next moment. No one wanted to act too early. They waited for the clearest opportunity to present itself. A subtle nod was enough. The group responded with precise timing and remarkable coordination, moving together in a single decisive moment. Everything happened so quickly that within seconds, the initial tension gave way to the outcome of years of experience and teamwork. Would anyone here love to experience an authentic safari journey like this one day? If so, leave a like. After leading the woodland following a tense encounter with the leopard and python, the Hadzabe did not immediately return to their camp. They stopped nearby to rest and prepare the food they had gathered during the journey. This is a familiar part of their daily life, because for the Hadzabe, the time after each expedition can be just as meaningful as the journey itself. The preparation was quick but carefully organized. Each portion of food was handled according to knowledge passed down through generations, making it easier to cook while making thoughtful use of what nature had provided. There were no modern appliances or complicated recipes. Every step relied on skills developed through a life closely connected to the woodland. Interestingly, while preparing the meal, the Hadzabe also took time to inspect and maintain the bows and arrows used during the journey. They examined each arrowhead, replaced damaged parts, tightened the bowstrings, and prepared everything for future journeys. For them, these traditional tools are not simply part of finding food. They also represent survival knowledge preserved as an important part of their cultural heritage. Behind these simple bows is a long process of learning that begins in childhood. Hadzabe children grow up observing adults make traditional tools, practicing how to handle a bow, learning to recognize animal tracks, and noticing subtle changes in the natural environment. These lessons do not take place in a classroom. They are passed down every day among trees, grasslands, and journeys shared with the wider community. That is why skills such as following leopard tracks, recognizing signs of a python, and choosing a safer route are not simply the experience of one individual. They are knowledge accumulated across generations, reflecting the Hadzabe's deep understanding of the ecosystem where they live. Rather than trying to conquer nature, they learn to observe, adapt, and respect the natural rhythms of the land. If you had one day in Tanzania, would you rather learn how to read tracks in the woodland or try making a traditional Hadzabe bow? Share your choice in the comments. Once all the preparations were complete, the cooking fire in the woodland began to glow brightly. The food was gradually placed over the fire and prepared in a simple traditional way, without many seasonings or elaborate equipment. For the Hadzabe, what matters most is not complicated cooking, but preserving the natural flavor of the food that nature has provided. While waiting for the meal to be ready, the group gathered beneath the shade of the trees and talked about the journey they had just experienced. The leopard tracks, the winding trails left by the python, and the moment when everyone stood quietly in the woodland had now become stories shared in a relaxed atmosphere. Just a few hours earlier, this same place had been filled with focus and awareness. Now it was filled with laughter and a sense of calm. When the meal was ready, everyone enjoyed it at the place where they had stopped. Some portions were enjoyed after being simply prepared according to traditional Hadzabe food customs, while the rest was cooked over the fire. This was not only a way to restore energy after many hours of walking, but also an opportunity for everyone to sit together in nature and appreciate the rewards of the day's journey. After the meal, the remaining food was carefully arranged to be carried back to the camp. No one prepared a private portion just for themselves. Everyone understood that the results of today's journey would also be shared with those waiting back home, including elders, women, children, and other members who could not join the expedition. Perhaps this moment reflects the values that the Hadzabe have preserved most clearly. A journey does not truly end when food is found. It becomes complete when the entire community has the opportunity to share in what has been gathered. A meal therefore becomes more than a time to rest. It becomes a living expression of the spirit of sharing that has connected the Hadzabe across generations. For many travelers who have had the opportunity to learn about Hadzabe life, what stays with them after the journey is sometimes not the encounter with a leopard or python, but the simple image of everyone gathering around a cooking fire and sharing a meal together in the heart of nature. This is also part of the unique beauty of Tanzania, where cultural values continue to live through the simplest moments of everyday life. As the first light touches the savannah, the Hadzabe hunters have already left their camp early in the morning. There is no noise or rush, they move in silence, each step light on the dry ground and low grass. Ahead of them lies the river, a source of water, but also home to massive hippos. Signs quickly appear. On the soft mud, large footprints are deeply imprinted and still fresh. Some areas are heavily disturbed, showing that hippos have recently come onto land to feed. Without much discussion, the hunters understand they are on the right track. They lower their bodies, carefully observing every small detail from the direction of movement to the depth of the tracks, to estimate distance and time. The wind becomes a crucial factor. They constantly adjust their direction to ensure their scent is not carried toward the animal. For the Hadzabe, hunting is not just a skill, but a harmony with the surrounding environment. Every breeze and every sound can shift the situation. As they move closer to the water's edge, the group stops. Ahead is an area where hippos often rest after leaving the water. But instead of moving straight in, they choose to observe from a distance. Hippos are large animals and highly sensitive to movement. A small mistake could cause the animal to return to the water or move to another area. Time passes slowly. No one speaks. All attention is focused on the slightest movement ahead. Then finally, the hippo appears. It moves slowly, completely unaware of the hunters positioned at a safe distance. This moment requires absolute calm. One hunter slowly raises his bow, keeping his breath steady. The others watch closely, ready to support. There is no rush, only precision and experience built over generations. The arrow is released in silence, marking the shift from observation to tracking. The hippo quickly moves away from its original position, and the journey is far from over. Now, the real challenge begins, following the animal over a long distance under the harsh savanna sun. For the Hadzabe, this is more than just a hunt, it is a test of endurance, coordination, and understanding of nature. The final outcome will depend on how they continue the tracking ahead. If you found this moment intense, don't forget to leave a like. Don't miss our previous python hunt video to see the full journey from the very beginning. Once they are sure the situation is safe, the group begins to move in and quickly shifts to the next task, handling the valuable food source they have just attained. There is no waste or rush, every action is organized and guided by experience passed down through generations.
Second ahead.
They divide responsibilities clearly. Some begin carefully preparing the meat, while others gather dry wood and set up the fire area. Large forest leaves are used to keep the food clean and prevent direct contact with the ground. It's a simple but effective way to maintain hygiene in natural conditions. The work continues steadily and in rhythm. The food is divided into smaller portions for easier cooking. Some parts are prioritized for immediate use, while others are prepared for longer preservation. The atmosphere gradually becomes warmer as the fire is lit. The first portions are placed near the heat to cook. Without modern tools, they use direct roasting, a traditional method that helps preserve the natural flavor. The aroma spreads through the air, marking the result of a long journey. At the same time, some portions are placed closer to areas with more smoke. This method naturally dries the food, helping with preservation over several days. It is an important skill that allows them to maintain a stable food source, especially when finding food becomes more difficult. During the process, others use plant fibers or natural materials available around them to tie and store the food. Everything is carefully planned to ensure there is enough for the group while avoiding waste or difficulty in transport. The moment to eat arrives naturally. As the first portions are ready, they sit together and share the meal right on the spot. There is no complexity, yet it reflects coordination, patience, and knowledge of nature. Small conversations are exchanged, and the atmosphere becomes lighter after the earlier focus.
Mana mama kwebe.
Mama kwipi.
Afadhali adopo kuvanda. Lakini oni yako.
What stands out is how they make use of almost the entire food source. Not only the main portions, but other parts are also used in suitable ways. This is not just a habit, but also a way of showing respect for nature and the resources they receive.
Kaka. Unajua uda. Nami.
Chega ba mithini au chega naka.
Chia thon.
Chega tra au ba makani dia lama.
For the Hadzabe, this stage is more than just food preparation. It is the step that transforms the result of the journey into a real source of sustenance for the entire group. Care, coordination, and experience are what help them maintain a sustainable way of life across generations. If you're impressed by how they prepare and make use of food from nature, leave a comment and share your thoughts. After the preparation is complete, the meal continues in a more relaxed atmosphere. The cooked portions are shared evenly, and people gather in small groups. There is no rush. This is a time to rest, recover energy, and enjoy the results after a long journey. Some portions are kept near the fire to maintain warmth and flavor, while others that have already been prepared are neatly arranged to be taken back to camp. Children and those who stayed behind will also have their share, because for the Hadzabe, sharing is always the most important part. The atmosphere becomes lighter. Short conversations are exchanged, and experiences are naturally passed on through these moments. This is not just a meal, but also a way for them to bond and preserve traditions across generations. After resting, a small group continues into a nearby forest with a different goal, searching for wild honey. This is a highly valued natural energy source, especially after physically demanding activities. They move slowly, carefully observing the environment. Sometimes, small signs such as the sound of a familiar bird or the activity of insects can help them locate a beehive. Everything depends on experience and a deep understanding of nature. When they find a hive high above, the group pauses to prepare. Some gather dry branches and leaves to create gentle smoke, making it easier to approach. Every action is done carefully to avoid disturbing the surrounding environment. One person climbs up with support from below, gradually reaching the hive. Meanwhile, the others maintain their positions and observe. Smooth coordination allows the process to be carried out safely and effectively. In the end, golden pieces of honey are collected. Some are enjoyed right on the spot, the natural sweetness providing a boost of energy after a long day. The rest is brought back to share with the entire group.
ama obaza hekwa hama gogo ko te ko chombo na gogo kena ka koe hama trima bala bi ko ay ye kana gogo sa ubana qanne ta on esa ba alako.
As the sun begins to set, they return to camp with both food and honey. The day ends not only with results, but also with a deep connection between people and nature, something that has helped the Hadzabe sustain their way of life for generations. If you're curious to see moments where the Hadzabe face not only hippos but also more intense encounters, check out our lion video to experience a whole different level of tension. The morning begins gently across the dry lands of East Africa as the first sunlight spreads over low bushes and sandy ground. For the Hadzabe, the day doesn't start with a fixed plan, but with careful observation of the smallest signs in their surroundings. One hunter crouches down, lightly touching the ground, and notices a long, clear, and fresh trail. It suggests that a large reptile has recently passed through, offering a chance to find food while also requiring focus and caution. The trail leads them into a more shaded area where the temperature is cooler than the open land. The surroundings grow quieter, and the group slows their pace. Each person takes a position, forming a wide observation range to maintain a safe distance. There is no rush, every action is carefully considered to keep the situation under control. A subtle movement makes the entire group stop instantly. Among dry leaves and branches, the shape of the animal slowly becomes visible, almost blending into the environment, yet recognizable to experienced eyes. At this moment, focus reaches its peak. They continue observing briefly to assess the animal's state and choose the right moment to approach. Once all conditions are carefully assessed, they begin to move closer in coordination. There are no individual actions, everything is based on shared understanding and experience gained from navigating nature. Simple tools are used carefully to maintain control. The animal starts to move slightly, but with smooth coordination, the situation remains stable. This stage requires precision and calmness. Every step must be calculated to maintain both safety and control. There is no rushing, only patience and focus. After a short but steady effort, the situation gradually comes under control. The atmosphere becomes lighter as everything settles. There's no noise, just exchanged glances that show mutual understanding. For them, this is not just the result of observation, but proof of deep knowledge of nature passed down through generations. The food they gather helps sustain life and reflects their connection with the environment. Which part of today's journey impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like to explore more about encounters with pythons, check out the previous video on the channel to see how they observe and adapt. Leaving the previous area, the group moves into a region with more trees, where it's cooler and filled with distant natural sounds. With no clear tracks on the ground, they shift their attention to the surroundings, especially movements above. For the Hadzabe, observation isn't limited to the ground but extends into the treetops where many species live and move. Before long, they recognize familiar signs, soft sounds in the distance mixed with quick movements among branches. These signals point to the presence of baboons, known for their agility and sharp awareness. This means the approach will require even more flexibility and caution. Every step is carefully taken to avoid drawing attention. They use natural features like tree trunks and bushes for cover while tracking the troop's movement. As they get closer, movements in the treetops become clearer. Some individuals leap between branches while others pause to observe. The environment feels alive yet challenging, as even the smallest disturbance could cause the entire troop to relocate. A slight change in the environment causes the baboons to move faster. Their movements become continuous, and the distance shifts. In response, the hunters adjust their pace, staying calm and coordinated to maintain control. This is where adaptability truly shows. Once things settle, the atmosphere stabilizes. The group remains calm and begins the next steps. Some scan the surroundings to ensure safety, while others carry out initial preparations in a quick and familiar way. Every action follows a clear sequence, reflecting knowledge passed down through generations. There is no rush, only smooth coordination to prepare for bringing food back. This ensures everything is used efficiently and in harmony with nature. For the Hadzabe, this journey is not just about finding food, but also about observing, learning, and adapting. Every step and decision is shaped by long-term experience, helping them stay balanced with nature. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more fascinating survival stories from the Hadzabe. A fire is lit as the last light of the day stretches across the savannah. Dry wood quickly catches flame, casting a warm glow across the open space. After a long day of movement and observation, everyone gathers for the most anticipated moment. Preparation happens quickly as everyone knows their role. What they've brought back is neatly arranged, each part handled simply but effectively. The atmosphere becomes livelier as people move around the fire, exchanging short words and knowing glances.
Taking my band and fishing.
As the fire burns steadily, crackling sounds blend with the soft wind and growing conversations. The aroma of food fills the air, bringing the space to life. Some sit close to the fire while others gather into a warm circle. When the meal begins, the energy peaks. Food is shared naturally, without distance. Hands pass food around, and smiles become more frequent. Children sit close to adults, excited to join, while the adults eat and talk. The soundscape is no longer quiet but full of life. Laughter, short stories, and natural reactions to the food create a warm and genuine atmosphere. This is more than a meal, it's a moment of connection. There is no complexity, yet satisfaction shows in every glance and gesture. After hours of movement, this is a well-earned reward, a time for rest and relaxation. Stories from the day are shared, often with soft laughter, creating a unique rhythm of life. The fire continues to glow, lighting the faces gathered together. The surroundings grow darker, but the circle by the fire remains warm and alive. Some stay to chat, while others begin to unwind after a long day. For the Hadzabe, the meal is not just about energy, it's the most important moment of the day. It's when distances disappear, stories are shared, and everyone enjoys the rewards of nature. As evening settles over the vast savanna, sounds fade into calmness. The day ends in warmth and connection, ready for a new journey at sunrise. If you're curious about more challenging encounters on the savanna, the previous baboon video offers plenty of exciting moments.
Baba.
Every journey with the Hadzabe reminds us that the beauty of Tanzania is found not only in its incredible wildlife but also in the cultural stories preserved and passed down through generations. We hope today's exploration has given you a new perspective on life surrounded by the untouched landscapes of Africa. If you enjoy authentic journeys like this, be sure to subscribe to African Survival Stories, leave a comment sharing what impressed you the most, and join us for many more adventures ahead.